Ciao a tutti, io sono Marco De
Hi
Villi.
everyone, I'm Marco De Villi, a journalist. And today we're at NOI Techpark in Bolzano. Here, we'll be discussing the collaboration between Backwell Tech and NSPulse. Backwell Tech is a Berlin-based company working on predictive artificial intelligence and explainable algorithms. We'll be sharing their collaboration with NSPulse, a nutrition startup that's specifically trying to redefine our approach to nutrition.
Ciao Marco.
Ciao Alberto.
Ciao Marco.
Ciao Federico.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno a voi. Chiederei quindi...
I'd like to start with an introduction and then ask Alberto to tell us who he is and what his journey has been so far.
Ho 58 anni.
I'm 58 years old, so I can be considered a seasoned manager with over 30 years of experience in the food industry and who has now embarked on this new entrepreneurial adventure as co-founder of an innovative food tech startup. I have 30 years of experience in the food industry with Parmalat and Danone, and have always worked with milk, fermented dairy products, mineral waters, and even plant-based products. But the idea that has always guided me has always been to challenge the status quo and seek to innovate, not change for change's sake, always looking for something that briefly changes the rules of the game and offers added value, thereby making a difference compared to competitors.
Thanks, Alberto. I'd like to ask you, Federico, to tell us about your journey and how you met and how you came to found this company, this startup together.
Ho avuto la fortuna di essere chiamato.
I was lucky enough to be called to participate in a talent selection process for a company like Parmalat and to pursue my career path precisely in a company with a very high level of innovation capacity. And this is where the mix of experience between the world of sales, marketing, and research and development comes from. First, at Parmalat. Then I worked for a few years in the Marché region in the dairy sector, where I worked in a company that needed to completely overhaul its business models and organization, so this too was a truly challenging experience. Then, in my next job, which was also my last job as an employee, I worked specifically on plant-based products, where I began to develop an interest in these product categories. At the same time, I had the opportunity to create completely new products from scratch, as well as completely new commercial and technical organizations. This, let's say, completed the background that allowed me to then think, together with Alberto, about a new company that would operate according to completely different paradigms than the past.
Initially, how did you manage the development of recipes for nutritional analysis, and what were the challenges at this stage of the process?
Dal punto di vista
From the perspective of the new product development process, anyone who has worked in established food companies has more or less always reasoned the same way. You start from past experience, that is, everything that's been achieved, the know-how that exists within a company, the access to a pool of suppliers, a pool of raw materials, and you have access to production processes that are typical and characteristic of each company. So what happens? Often, because of these kinds of constraints, and also because of the laziness of the human mind, which tries to make the minimum effort to achieve its goals, people reason in a very standardized way. So we wanted to set aside this way of thinking and embark on a new path, focusing specifically on consumer needs.
Let's talk about the collaboration with Backwell Tech. How did you discover this company, and how did the collaboration with Maximilian, the CEO, come about? I know you have a personal relationship with him.
It was almost automatic that artificial intelligence would be included among the tools we wanted to use, given its innovative nature. But beyond trends, we believed it would really help us think in a completely different way than we had done up to that point, and then all large companies, or at least all established companies, think. That is what is already known, but without ever searching for characteristics, raw materials, or recipes that no one had ever thought of before. And in this, of course, artificial intelligence gave us a huge helping hand. Maximilian and I met in a professional context many years ago. Then Maximilian suddenly came back with a message on LinkedIn saying that he had graduated in statistical sciences in Milan and that he was working on artificial intelligence. So we immediately seized the opportunity and explored these topics further precisely because they were of great interest to us and at the right time.
And how is Backwell Tech helping you find solutions to your challenges? And what are the specific features of the platform that are helping your project grow bigger and stronger.
There are some fundamental constraints that we introduced. Certain raw materials simply shouldn't have been used because a certain way of combining raw materials didn't work with our philosophy of creating the final product. At the same time, it was very important to try to imitate through innovative recipes, product characteristics typical perhaps of other sectors such as the dairy sector, consolidated food sectors where consumer taste is obviously very consolidated, therefore obtaining similar results in terms of taste, in terms of functional performance, but using entirely plant-based raw materials and combining them through innovative recipes, through totally innovative production processes. This too was one of the fundamental advantages.
The platform is queried based on specific constraints that lead to the selection, but also to the description of ingredients, because this is also one of the main advantages in the meaning that the platform maximizes the spectrum of knowledge in terms of selection opportunities and does so in a very short time, thus essentially saving weeks if not months of work that otherwise could be dispersive and sometimes even inaccurate. The company's decision on how far in depth we want to go in using AI is entirely up to us, because we've set out to use it as thoroughly as possible, so much that the collaboration with Backwell Tech is now developing beyond what was originally briefed. We should be able to complete it within approximately 24 months, starting from scratch, which could be considered a very significant time frame if we succeed. The development of an innovative product, not a reformulation, but a product that has no history and is truly created from scratch, aims to challenge established paradigms. It's an end-to-end product, meaning not just the formula, but also the reindustrialization of the product itself. So, if we were to complete the project within these 24 months, it would already be a significant achievement, and part of the credit would certainly go to the use of the platform, which allowed us to shorten the time frame for each individual phase.
How can a technology like this, that you are using, redefine competitive advantage and innovation, for example, in the food sector?
What we learned when using these tools for the first time is that, on the one hand, the platform allows you to save a lot of time because you have the ability to process so much information and create unthinkable connections that, if you had to reason with traditional tools, it would probably have taken you 2 or 3 years to reach the same conclusions. On the other hand, the platform can slow down your work, but that's a positive aspect because it continually raises questions and stimulates the need for answers you hadn't previously considered. So it's a platform that continually generates doubts for its users, but at the same time, it allows for ongoing answers to those doubts.
I'm so grateful to Alberto and Federico for sharing their experience with us at NSPulse. Best of luck on your journey. You've told us how to build a forward-thinking food company. Your journey combines deep industry knowledge, built on extensive experience, with the use of advanced technology that can lead to truly significant innovations, redefining the role of plant-based proteins, and rethinking the product development process. NSPulse is creating better, more sustainable food solutions, moving towards a smarter, let's call it more intelligent, more functional future, and by integrating tools like 4Food into the company's workflow, you are somehow also setting a new benchmark in terms of speed, precision, and long-term impact and innovation in the food sector. Thank you very much, and thank you for everything you told us.